The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, this is Tom Lane, DM2 Software's Vice President of Sales and Marketing. I'd like to welcome everyone to today's Sage CRM Land and Expand webinar. Before I introduce today's presenter, I would like to go over a few housekeeping items. Because of the number of attendees we have on today's webinar, everyone's phones will stay on mute. If you have any questions during the webinar, please enter them into the question window that you see in the lower right of your screen. We'll try to get to everyone's questions at the end of the webinar. If for some reason we're unable to get to your question, we'll follow up with you individually via email. Today's webinar is being recorded. As soon as the recording is available, I'll post it along with the presentation slides on our website and our YouTube channel, and then I'll send everybody a message to let them know when they're available to be downloaded or viewed. On that note, I would like to introduce Colin Chambers. Colin is our Senior CRM Consultant. He focuses solely on CRM implementations, and he's here to give you an overview of Sage CRM, Land and Expand. So I'll hand it over to you on that note, Colin.
Great. Thank you, Tom, and good morning or afternoon to everybody, and thank you for attending, and thanks for your interest in CRM. So again, the purpose of our webinar today is Land and Expand, and what that refers to is that in all CRM implementations we try to take this approach, which is that keep the first implementation or the first wave relatively simple, and then get everybody adopting the system, get everybody familiar before you move on to more advanced stuff. And most DM2 clients are somewhere in between. There may be some interest in the past. You may have it installed. You may have already deployed it with less than perfect results. So we want to try to resurrect whatever interest you may have had and point out the advantages of it and how you can move on to more benefits of using the system. So hang on one second here. Let me advance ahead. So the agenda today, as was published, is that the goal is to assess your current CRM situation, your environment. Where are you right now? What's worked in the past? What hasn't worked so well? And where would you like to see things go in the future? So originally, kind of take an assessment of what's going on there. If you have CRM goals, a wish list, things you'd like to do, that would be a good starting point for the whole situation, is to see what you want to do and then make a clear roadmap of how to get where you want to go. A lot of our implementations are existing just salesforce automation. A lot of times that's a good first start. So that may be where you are right now, and if so, we'd like to kind of point out that there are other aspects of the system, customer service and marketing, which are just as much a part of CRM, but a lot of times they're kind of wave two kind of projects. A very important aspect of all CRM implementations is user adoption and other aspects that can help you ensure success of the project. I'm going to go a little bit more into that in a few minutes, but top-down support, enterprise-wide support, user adoption, really important. It's very common for users to get trained on the system and really not be trained thoroughly enough. With CRM, users actually do have the option to balk and refuse to use the system. Whereas if it was an ERP system, there's no way that can happen. But with CRM, you have often your most advanced, your most senior, your most successful salespeople. They have their own way of doing things, and it's important that you really mandate that they adopt the system, track their use, and it has to be a top-down mandate from the company. Maybe their incentives, their bonus, needs to be based on it. So it's really important that those users, adopt the system for it to be successful. Common scenarios, again, you may have already deployed CRM just for Salesforce. Possibly you may have deployed it in the past and had disappointing results for several reasons. Sometimes it just wasn't done very thoroughly. A lot of times it's initiated by the finance department. Sometimes they don't really fully appreciate CRM, what it can do. or they underestimate, the scope of it. They think of it really as just kind of an add-on to ERP, and just turn it on and turn people loose. And it's kind of a recipe for disaster to do that, but it happens really frequently. So a lot of times you might be in a situation where you have deployed it, but it was really incomplete and not very well done. I've heard a lot of times that the people who implemented the system are all gone, they've turned over, they've left the company. So now you've got this system where nobody's been trained on it, that kind of a situation. User adoption, again, pretty common scenario that it's already implemented, but that people are not using it currently. Another scenario with Sage is that CRM license for the software, for the server, for periods of time has been included with the cost for the ERP for MAS or Sage 100. So we have a lot of clients out there that actually already own the software, but they've never actually installed it, okay, or they haven't done it very, very well or very thoroughly. Most of the time that this happens, you still do have to license users, but you may have some of the license maybe already covered. The other scenario is maybe it's just something that you're newly interested in. So we certainly would like to pick up with you, wherever you are in the spectrum. CRM, what exactly is CRM? It's Salesforce automation, customer service, and marketing. And the bottom line purpose of all this is to increase sales, increase customer retention, customer satisfaction, profitability of the company. There are other CRM packages out there, but what makes Sage CRM the best option for virtually all DM2 clients is that it has the best integration with Sage 100. Okay, so you've got access to financial info. CRM is kind of a portal that can kind of extend that back office resources out to the whole company through mobile devices, through phones, in a safe manner where normally you wouldn't have that kind of access to ERP. You can also even extend it further out to customers as well, for customers self-service. So that's kind of what CRM does and why Sage CRM is really the best option for DM2 clients. The keys to success for a project, again, I've already kind of covered this. You really have to have the president of the company, the CEO, the general manager, top-level mandate that this is going to be a priority. And if you don't, then it's just never really going to take off the way it could. Poor user adoption, enterprise-wide support. CRM is different than ERP. That ERP obviously does touch the whole organization, but it's more focused on the finance department. CRM covers practically everybody else, including the finance department and IT. So you have to have buy-in from people all around the company. So you have to network, with the sales VP, the customer service VP, if there is one, marketing, head of marketing, whoever that might be. IT is always really involved, and also finance is, frequently involved. So you really got to get everybody across the whole organization. It's always really good to have the actual users involved in the design of the system. It doesn't work so well to have executives design a system and then kind of force it on people. So you want to get their iterative feedback, and how the screens are set up, how the processes work, all that kind of stuff. Get a design team of power users, could be sales managers, but even just users involved in the whole process. Again, making user adoption mandatory, make it part of their compensation, your bonus based on it. That's really, really important. Again, land and expand. So the land phase of all this is, shorten that wave one implementation and try and prevent scope creep. So just, get that first wave done where people are up using the system, getting familiar with it, practicing before you move on to other stuff. Okay, and CRM is not just an add-on to ERP. It's a lot of people kind of have this, preconception that it's just a module in MAS, and it doesn't help that there actually is a module called Customer Relationship Management, which is part of the Sage integration. And if you see that in there, you might think that this is just a module that you activate. But Sage CRM actually is a completely different program. It's tightly integrated with MAS. but it's a separate program that requires its own implementation, and really the users are frequently different people. So this is not just an add-on, it's a whole separate system. I already kind of mentioned this, who initiates these projects a lot of times is the head of the company or IT. When finance does initiate CRM projects, usually that's a good thing. It's good to have